So, I finished Disappearing Nightly by Laura Resnick. She's a romance author. She's written a lot. And she's also the daughter of Mike Resnick, who wrote such classics as Stalking the Unicorn. So, that's something. She is a pretty good writer. I mean, this is the first in the series of Esther Diamond, who's um, a struggling actress runs into a really old magician, and together they try to find some missing magician's assistants in New York so Esther Diamond can go back to her acting gig and actually make money. It's kind of a bit of a screwball comedy almost in a way where mishaps keep happening, but there's no real consequences and no one dies. It's kind of lighthearted, but it is urban fantasy because there's some magic and other dimensions. For a while, it does seem like it's just like a romance novel with no romance, and for a while, it seems like a mystery, which is kind of interesting. Um, I really liked the beginning. The beginning got right into it. It was really interesting. You learned about her acting job. You learned a little bit about her life. It got started right away. The magician came after this pop star who was gonna be in a magic show disappeared, and then Esther Diamond was the backup, so she was gonna do it, and the magician said, "Oh no, don't do it." So that's how the whole mystery got started, and she ends up working with him. There are some pros and cons, I would say, of the story. The pros were probably she's an excellent writer. I mean, you can tell when it's kind of bad writing, and she was not. Her sentences, her grammar, very good. The story flowed. Um, there is a romance, and it is with someone of authority, so you got to be careful with that because people of authority can come off as douches if they just, um, don't realize that this is kind of awkward. If they just assume the person will go for them, it's just kind of I've seen that in stories. But this person of authority tries to kind of fight it, and he admits, this is kind of awkward. I don't really do this a lot, but I like you. And they're kind of drawn to each other. It kind of comes off realistic at times, but other times it is kind of, I don't know, you could take it either way. He's being kind of creepy or he's being romantic. It kind of depends on the reader, I would say. The plot is pretty unique. I've never, like, when I've read the back, I thought, oh, an actress. A lot of stories involve Hollywood because it's something a lot of people are interested in, but come off kind of plain and boring. I've read a lot of things where about starlets and whatnot. But this one, she seems like a real person. She just happened to be an actor struggling actress in New York City, so it wasn't all about acting, which was really nice. The characters are really likable. There's a cowboy type, southern. There are drag queens in here. She actually makes them feel like real people, not like caricatures of, you know, people. And there are some, not PC moments, I would say. It was written in 2006, so what can you expect? But yeah, I was prepared to be offended by some of the characters, thought they would seem kind of cliche, but they seem to have their own personality and they all helped out solving the mystery. They all were involved. They all were useful, which is really nice. 'Cause sometimes there's characters who are there and you think, why are they there? They're not doing anything. They're just here, so it's not about the two main characters or something like that. Um, I would say, you know, there's a lot of promise in the series. This was the first book, and she actually had a forward in the beginning saying there were some things in it that were messed up because the publishers changed it. But she actually moved from that publisher to Daw, which is a really good publishing house, and they let her kind of fix it up again. So this is the same story as from 2006, but a different publisher, and she actually revised it, which is pretty nice. But there are some cons to that. Like she revised it, But some of the things I thought, if you're revising this, why didn't you change this? And you gotta take some points out for that because yeah, I'll get to that. But the middle, the beginning is great, and the middle kind of starts off a little boring. There's probably a couple chapters there where I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a waste of my time. It's getting kind of blah. They're solving the mystery, but there's nothing really major happening. They're just constantly talking about what could be happening and researching, and it's just kind of those few chapters were kind of hard to get through, but I managed. And the bit of the romance with the person of authority seemed a little bit rushed. Some of it did not seem realistic. He showed up at her house and brought her breakfast, and they never had a date or didn't really know each other, which I thought was very weird. I would not let someone come in to bring me breakfast when I just woke up and didn't really know them. So, and he also in the beginning seemed kind of like a jerk. It was a jerk type character, like, oh, we don't get along, Mr. Darcy, kind of a thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Her, Esther Diamond was a great character, but she didn't seem qualified for what she was doing with the magician. She didn't have a background. They didn't go into the background of why she knew everything she did and was smart like she was. She just kind of, was an actress who could do all this stuff. And it was like interesting, but I wish I had gone to her backstory more. You learn a little bit about her family, but you don't know why she's drawn to solving this case, why she feels like she has to, why she's not scared and runs away, which a lot of her fantasies will explain, like, oh, this person's dad was a scientist, or this person used to be in the army, and then you think, oh, that explains everything. Okay. Um, there's a few with the drag queens, like I said, it's not all PC. There's a few, it's funny because they're men jokes. Like they're hitting on a guy and he doesn't know, and it's supposed to be a funny moment because they're men and he doesn't know. And it's like, that's not really funny. But again, 2006, I guess that explains it. I don't know. Even back then it was, but anyway, um, main character, like I said, could use a little more development. Another con, the biggest con, oh my gosh, she revised it. But there's a part at the end that is very disturbing to me. I've never seen anything like it in urban fantasy. The villain, actually, you kind of he's a character that a lot of people pity in the story, and you sympathize with him, but they pity him because he has um, not not a disability. He has a bit of a issue with speech. And then he is kind of an introvert, and the characters seem very annoyed by that. But if you had that problem, I could totally see someone being introverted and not wanting to talk to people. So I kind of sympathized with him. And then at the end, he was trying to, okay, there was a part that was where there was assault that took place, and they made it seem like the villain deserved it, but no one deserved that. And you sympathize with him, and you feel bad. And it turned out he was actually cursed by another magician at first, so you think, oh, why can't they just uncurse him or do something like that instead of having him being assaulted, even though he was planning to do it to someone else. It's just like you're the heroes of the story. This is kind of setting a bad example, I would say. So I was a little disturbed by that. And then it was a few pages till the end, and everyone didn't feel bad. They didn't really mention what happened. There's a part where it almost seemed like it was like, haha, you wanted this to happen to her, now it's happening to you. You deserve it, which I couldn't agree with. That almost Honestly, most stories, if that had happened, it would ruin the whole story for me. It was disturbing. The end was a little. I think she could have ended it better. That whole what I just mentioned, very on PC, and it was just really hard to understand why she would write that. That assault isn't taken. It should be taken seriously, and it's like she tried to make it a lighthearted thing because it's a screwball comedy type mystery type urban fantasy book. But it had a lot of promise. So I don't know if I'd suggest this book, but I have a feeling if I read a few of the others, I might suggest them because the author kind of admitted this was not her best work. But there's so much promise in the characters and the story, and I don't know. She got some parts really. She wrote some parts very well, and the other choices she made was questionable, or just I don't know. But I don't know. Out of like 1 to 10, probably rate it like 5.5. I don't know. There's so many pros and so many cons, so I'd give it a 5. But um, if you like urban fantasy, if you don't mind anything I mentioned, then go ahead and read it. Otherwise, maybe stick to some of the more popular urban fantasies series. So, well, that's my review. You can make your own decisions on what you think of it, but keep reading.